All right, Sonny. We got you on video, man. Thank you.
No problem, homie. How you doing, homie? Saludos.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Sorry, it took
I
a minute.
yeah. No, this. Yeah, this is cool. This will work.
This will work. Are we
Yeah.
on yet?
Uh, yeah, I think so. It went live on the from the website. I went from the website. I'm not sure. I think so.
Let's see. You
On
got
my YouTube, does it show? Is there any way you can check on my YouTube if it's going? Because I'm on my
okay.
phone. I'm
It
doing it on
says
my
you're on
phone.
live right now.
It's live on
That's
YouTube.
what it says. What's the YouTube channel?
Oh, the Blanco Foundation.
The Blanco Foundation. Hold on. Blanco Foundation. I'm sorry, I get so many web channels.
Oh no, you're good.
Blanco Foundation. Hold on. Blanco Foundation. Yes, we are live.
Okay, cool. Okay, that'll work.
So what's
Awesome.
cracking, homie?
Yeah, I just want to say that mucho gracias. Thank you. I really appreciate you uh doing this video and this interview and yeah, homie, gracias. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so I wanted
My
to do this
pleasure,
interview.
homie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you just to get to know you a little bit because I've been doing research and been watching your videos and you're really interesting. You got a you got a real good perspective and just your attitude, it's always neutral. You're not you always take a good channel, like as far as the education that you're giving to people, and so yeah, so the reason I want to do the interview though was just to ask you, can you tell us your name and where you grew up and if you had your parents?
Uh, I my name's Leonard. Everybody calls me Sonny. Um, I had my father and my mother. My father passed away when I was 12. My mother passed away when I was how old was I? When I was in prison, 22, 21, 22. My mother passed away when I was incarcerated. Can you give me a Coke now, please? You hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, my father when I was 12, my mother when I was 22 or 21. I was incarcerated.
Can you think you could tell us a little bit about, because I went through foster care too and group homes and stuff. Do you think you could tell us your experience of your parents, they passed away, and how that affected you, or what your experience was with not having your parents?
Well, I was getting into the I was going to Northeast LA a lot when my father was alive. I started to take off a little, not too much, just a little every once in a while. I mean like once every couple of weeks. So I was already running around with a gang out there. And then my father passed from a drug overdose, a heroin overdose, and I found him. Uh, Unfortunately, when my mother came home, I had told her that my father was in the restroom for a long period of time. He wasn't answering, and she told me to kick the door down. So I did, and we found him with the needle in his arm. He had died. Uh, and it kind of threw me for a tailspin because my father was my hero, man. And everything I looked up to, everything he did, the way he was, the way he conducted himself. You know what I mean? I looked up to my father, so it devastated me, and it caused me to just kind of stay away from family a little bit.
Did you did you have to go to like a group homes or any
No,
kind of
I
programs?
no. Originally, when my father passed away, I don't know if that still holds true today, but when you're with somebody that overdoses, they usually take you and gaff with you too. They take you and they bust you. and this was back in early '80s. So my my mom told me and my brother to go out the back door and go up to a friend's house that was actually on the other side of the city. It was a long walk. So that's what we did. I think my mother got incarcerated that night for a couple hours for questioning, and then they let her go because she wasn't there when it happened. She just said she came home and she kicked in the door and found him like that. So we were always with my mother until I was about 15, 16. I think it was 15. I dropped out of school and we faked fake birth certificate and I got a job and started we had our own place, me and my brother, and it's just we were never in no group homes or nothing. The farthest we ever went was we went to my tia's pad for a couple of years when my mom and dad were in the feds, and that was when I was about, I want to say 4, 5 years old.
Also, you were with your parents throughout. You said that the heroin part. How did the drug part did it affect you? Did it affect you as far as like did you have to help your parents a lot or make sure that nothing happened to them?
Um, we knew at a young age. Well, at least I did. I don't know about my brother, but I knew. We never really discussed that. I knew at a young age that they were doing something wrong and they were sticking needles in their arm. So I knew that at a young age, and I had a habit of going into the bathroom and finding the outfits that they used to hide the needles, and I would break them and flush them or do whatever I had to do with them. Hopefully, they would stop. They never questioned us about it. Obviously, you know what I mean. Um, it was always my mom and dad. We would always have to, as long as I can remember, always watch out for them to make sure that they didn't overdose. That was like a big thing with us. I don't know what happened when my father died. It just caught us off guard, I guess.
And when you turned 18, how did that go? Since yeah,
By the time I turned 18, I had already been on my own. I was already homeless for a while. I had lived in my tia's pad. Uh, I was staying in my homeboy's car for a little while. My brother had went to a friend's house. He was staying there with his family, but I was jumping around a lot. I was a little buck wild. I didn't listen to nobody. I didn't want to put up with anybody's bullshit. So I just basically went and did my own thing. My mother was incarcerated for a little bit, and when she was clean, she was living at her sponsor's house for a little bit, and then I was just running amok, whatever I had to do.
and I seen a video about I don't know if you wanted to talk about a little bit about it, but about your the life sentence.
In 1992 February, I got busted for multiple shootings. Now I don't really like talking about it because to
Yeah,
me it's kind of glorifying it. Um, but I got busted for some gang related shootings. Uh, they were in two separate cities. So I got originally got convicted of everything, and then as the appeal process came through, they kind of separated everything, the shootings, and then I landed up getting what they call a sentence modification, basically. And it took they dismissed us the life term, and they gave me I think it was like 36, and then it went down to like 30, then it went down to 25, and then it landed up going down to 15. But in that meantime, I had picked up another case in the county jail, which they gave me 16 months altogether. So that that's what I got my time on.
yeah. I think I seen the video on that. You walked in the unit and Yeah. Was
It was,
that, was it for that? You said you got busy when you walked into the unit?
oh, that no, that was uh,
Yeah.
when I was in the county jail. There was a lot of racial riots, and it was pretty serious. And uh, I got caught up. That's all I can say. But I picked up another tip that in the county.
And so for the last before now, for maybe the last, I would assume you're still young. So in the last about 10 years, eh, how do you feel like life has been going for you? Like before today?
Uh, when I came out, which was in 2000, uh, I came home to my family. My family was still there, my wife and my kids that stuck by me. I want to say for the first year, I was kind of running amok. Still going to the neighborhood, going to bars, drinking, stuff. I just my freedom got a little too much for me. You know what I mean? Because that's what happens when you're, I guess, incarcerated for a long time. You tend to get loose, and that freedom starts to get to you where you realize you can do more and run around. And my wife was pregnant. I felt trapped again. I just felt trapped. It wasn't, but at the same time, uh, I love my wife, I love my kids, and I wanted to be there for them. And it took a little bit for me to snap out of it, where I just said, "Hey, I got to be there for them." You know what I mean? Make up for what I've done. Um, and it was a struggle for the first 5, 6 years. After that turning point, it was like it started to change and not run around the neighborhood so much. I would still go down there and you know participate, but I wasn't doing it too much. And then this last maybe 6 years, I've changed dramatically. Where I just like, man, I got to stop this. This is not something that's beneficial to my family or myself. You
Do
know what I
you
mean? I put it,
do you remember the day? Do you remember the day that you felt that way?
yeah, I uh, I was up to doing something I shouldn't have been doing, and there was this kid somebody had told to go with me. It was his little homeboy, and I told his homeboy we were driving to where we were going. I told him, "Give me what you got," and he got a little panicky. And I told him, "Dude, I'm not gonna burn you. Just give me what you got in case we get stopped. I'll get busted, not you." And he was looking at me like weird, like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? My homeboy sent me. I don't give a fuck what your homeboy sent. He's not in the car, is he? So then we were talking, and I told him, "Oh, how much you making out this?" And he was like, "Oh, nothing." I go, "What do you mean nothing? You're out here taking chances for nothing? Like, you're a fucking crash dummy, aren't you?" Like, what? And as I'm talking to him, I actually start hearing myself. And this kid used to be on the corner every day, smoking his little weed. His homeboys wouldn't even be around. He'd be out there by himself, posted up. And I was telling him, "Dude, you're a crash dummy, dog. You're stupid. You ain't caught up for nothing. Where are your homeboys? They ain't even here." And like I said, I was listening to myself at the same time. And thankfully, he changed his life. But at the same time, I started to change.
And also, I want to talk a little bit about your school too. I'm yeah, your college education. What took you in the path of wanting to go to school?
I've always wanted to go to school. I've always wanted to go back to school, and um, I would hear people talk, and I would hear them talk about certain things, and just my lack of knowledge of it, I'll be like, "Damn, dude, I'm a dumbass." I would say to myself, but I know I'm knowledgeable about a few things. But for some reason, it bugs me when I don't know nothing about a lot of things, and I'm not no expert at anything. So I got to the point where I was getting sick a lot. I was uh, I was at home and I'm waiting for gigs for the acting um, to come along, and what I mean. And there's a waiting period between one show to the next, and what I was doing, and I was sitting there and I was getting sick every day. Like I would get sick one day, and then I'd be sick for a couple weeks, and then I would get better for like a couple days, and then I would get sick again for something else, and it just kept on going on like that for about a year and a half. And I was like, man, I got to get out there and do something. I got to go keep my mind busy, keep my body busy. I'm really overweight now. I'm getting old. I don't want to move. I got to do something. And I was watching a commercial and I was talking about East LA College giving 2 years free tuition, free free classes for 2 years for anybody that's never been to college. And I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go. Let me see what I'm on. So I went. I just balls out. I went out and went back to school, and my health got better. I lost a lot of weight. Uh, I'm walking around more. You know what I mean? Easier. It's still, I still got my creaks and pains, but it's nothing like it was before.
Yeah, and I also wanted to I want to say this part about your acting. That part I think is the really great part because your acting experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it sounds really good. It's exciting.
Um, I originally met Joe Castro. He's a producer for a few movies. And, he asked me, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?" And I was like, "Sure." Of course, I'm gonna say yeah, but never believed in it. Yeah, sure. Like, I don't believe that shit. Uh, about 2 months later, it calls me, and it was another guy named Paul that was actually the same thing, saying, "Hey, I want to get you in a movie." Yeah, okay. And then Joe calls me one day and says, "Hey, we got a part for you. Why don't you come down?" So I went down, and it was actually I had some lines. There's some movies coming out on the beginning of next year. It's called A Higher Power, filmed by Mr. Homicide. He's a rapper, entrepreneur, and everything else. So I did that, and then I did a couple other small movies with low budget movies. Um, and then I met Joe had called me one day, told me, "Hey, Bernice from Streets to the Set needs some actors. Are you down?" I told him, "Yeah." So I went to the shoot, and our shot got canceled. But I waited around most of the day. She was like, "I appreciate you staying." And I go, "Nah, no big thing. Yeah, if you need me for any down, let me know." So then I let it go. I didn't bug her, never called her. And then I ran across her at a Street Pulse exclusive, the interview. So she did an interview with them. So I ran across her right there, and she was talking about something as the Panamanian Film Festival that she needed people to volunteer. But she had just kind of mentioned it, right? And I told her, "Well, if you need somebody to help you, I'm down. I'll go there and help. I'll volunteer." So I went and I turned 2 hours of volunteer work into 8 hours. I just worked with her, you know what I mean? I did what I was supposed to do. I helped as much as possible, kept busy. And I guess she really appreciated it. So about a month later, she calls me and she goes, "Hey, we got this movie up in Venice. Are you interested?" Sure. So we went. I did a part in that movie. It's called To Die Like a Man. It's coming out this sometime in the next couple months. It's called Die Like a Man. So I'm in a movie. I took my sister-in-law, I took my nephew to expose them to that a little bit. You know what I mean? And then right after that was This Fool. And that's when it got real serious because uh, Die Like a Man is a major movie, but This Fool is a major, it was barely coming out, and it's the only one that's come out like that. So I uh, I jumped on it, and I enjoyed the cast. I had a good experience with it. Now I'm taking acting classes to. I'm just investing in my craft. I'm part of Streets to the Sets now. Um, so Bernice, is my
SAG
manager.
approved.
Um, I am eligible to be SAG approved. I have all my vouchers to walk up to SAG and be legit. The thing about that is a lot of times when you're in industry, you want to have some kind of steady income because it is a lot of money. Some steady income like that. Uh, that way you can afford it. You know what I mean?
Do you have any advice for somebody that might want to get into acting? Like, a good friend or somebody that is maybe struggling and they're trying to get away from something. And because I know acting and radio and podcasting it's a good therapy.
Yeah, it is a very good therapy. I guess the only thing I could really say is acting was different for me than most. I've met a lot of people that are acting that done background like myself, uh, that have been doing it 10, 15 years and never been SAG approved or never approved, not don't even have the vouchers to be SAG approved. So me, in about a year, I'm already approved to be SAG if I want. Now, I have a good friend named Adam Mendoza, uh, that I talk to on a regular basis, and he told me he went to school. He had to go to school. He went to college, all this to get involved in the industry. And I don't think anybody. There's one certain way to get in. Uh, and I've also heard of Joe getting in the industry because Joe walked up and helped out. He was invited on a set, and he actually helped everybody out, and they pulled him on. That's how he got his start. So it's all different ways. But if you want something, nothing's going to deter you. You just have to put in the work.
Yeah, and the Hulu, man, I've been telling my friends about it. It's a great show. This Fool. Can you tell us how that developed and the experience with that show?
Okay, like I said, Bernice called me and asked me if I was interested in being on the show, to show up on the set called CBS Studios over there in Studio City. So I went. I landed being there with Joe Castro. Uh, we went on set. We found the set where we have to go. They told us where to go. Basically, we found it where we're supposed to go. We found the person we're supposed to check in on. We checked in with. So we checked in with them. They tell you to sit down, uh, and then they give you a name like you're going to be part of this situation. So when they said we the Hugs for No Thugs, that's what I was part of. So they'll come count everybody from Hugs to Thugs come in. You're gonna film. So then when you get into the studio, they tell you what to do, where to sit, how to dress, fix your shirt, uh, and they'll go through a dry run with you, and they'll tell you what to do. Uh, and you just follow directions. You can't you have to be in a certain section. So when your filming comes up, this is where you go. You stay there. If you have to go somewhere, you let somebody know. I got to go restroom. I'm going to get something to eat real quick, whatever. And because they don't want to be looking around for you when you're filming. I was just fortunate enough that me and Joel were fortunate enough that day that they were doing features. Features is where they focus on you alone. They're not focusing in on a group. They're focusing on you alone, by yourself on the camera. And that's a section where I'm ready. I'm going like that with my head. I'm saying no when he's actually looking for his friends to back his play. Um, the cast, man, I can't say anything bad about them. They were just they were real supportive. They helped you when they see you struggling with something. They especially Chris Estrada. Chris Estrada, the creator of the show, he went out of his way to help everybody. I was fortunate enough to know that Chris Estrada was actually one of my supporters on my channel on Streets Loyal. So he knew who I was right away, which was cool.
Cool. And also, I wanted to ask you, do you have any future projects or things that you're working on that you might want to tell us about?
Uh, I'm actually supposed to start a film, but it got postponed. Uh, it was supposed to start in the summer. I think it's going to go more towards the winter now. It's a low budget movie. Uh, it deals with stuff that we're dealing with today as raza. I guess I'm supposed to be an older homie that talks to the youngsters. What else? We're waiting for season 2 to see if there's a season 2 for this fool. And like I said, I've been going to acting school so that I can apply for more roles. I just did my first self tape, which is where you tape yourself running the lines. So I'm learning to do lines and monologues and all that good stuff. So right now, my main focus right now is school, though. That is my main focus. I could have been on some other shows, and I've actually turned some down because of school.
In your major at school, what is it?
Multimedia. I'm taking theater, acting classes. I'm taking graphics designs. I'm taking digital photography, cinematography. I'm taking anything that has to do with filming.
Okay.
I
And
want to learn all aspects of it.
cool. And so I'm getting towards the end. I'm getting right here towards the end of the interview. And this is the part that I've been wanting to talk about. And so, you know, personally, I think it's important because I've been affected by this. But uh, how do you feel about um, BLM, as a company, as a foundation? What is your opinion? And with the money that they have, what do you think should be done with that money?
That is a very touchy subject.
Or do you want to talk about
No,
how do you feel?
I can address it. Uh,
Because I saw one of your interviews and you said I might have got it wrong, but I think you said if they played the anthem that you wouldn't stand up. And
okay,
I explained that to my friend and I said, well, if you have a group of kids and you buy one and not the other, they're gonna kind of it's probably a good idea to buy all the kids something. So I kind of was thinking that the concept that you were saying, it should maybe go like that because in a way, why is not everybody getting recognized at the table?
well, the way I look at it, okay, we're gonna speak about the anthem first. I would boycott, not show any support for a different anthem other than the United States anthem, the American anthem. That's it. I don't believe that they should be playing the national Mexican anthem at football games in the United States. I don't think they should be playing the Canadian. I don't think they should be playing the black anthem. I have a simple answer for all those BLM, black the black anthem, reparations. I have a simple answer. Everybody's screaming for equality. We have all these different groups. It's not just the blacks. We have the American Indians, we have the gay community, we have uh, the Asians now. We have so many different factions screaming, "We want equality!" Right? My thing is, if you want equality, then why do you want to be put on a pedestal? I didn't feel it was right. I felt offended that I had paid for $60 a year for my daughter to play Xbox, plus another $60 a month for the internet service. And my daughter turns on the Xbox and she asks me, "Why does it say Black Lives Matter?" And I'm like, "See, now you're infringing on my rights. You're
Yeah,
infringing
and
on
you know
the
Xbox cut a deal for that too. And where
yeah."
why we don't see that money?
And the way I look at it, it's like, why? Okay, I want to bring my child up, or I want to bring my kids up, not to be basing things on the color of their skin, on people's skin. I don't want my kids to look at it and say, "Well, I didn't get that job because I'm Mexican or I'm brown." I don't want to. I didn't want to raise our kids, and my wife was the same way. We didn't want anytime something goes your way. I didn't want my kids saying it's because I'm brown. So, but you're gonna put BLM up there and go against my teachings to my kids. To me, all lives matter. I don't think any one race should be put up on a pedestal over anybody else. Hispanics are killed just as much as blacks are when it comes to the police officers.
Well, if we really go into detail about that, I mean, oh man, I'm going way out here with this because I know a lot of people out there, that have been through a lot, but I'm gonna say it straight out. I know more of my homies that I could say a list of friends I have, they've been killed by the same race, by the same like should be their friends. Somebody should be cool with them. They're not. Well, I don't know. I can't even say cool with them, but just somebody that should be talking to them, socializing with them in their community. They're not doing that, but most of the time, 100% of the time, almost, is somebody from the same race. So in the last 5 years, we've had all these rappers, King Von, Nipsey Hussle, you know, all these different rappers, they've been killed by the same race. Why are we not beating down their doors? Why are we not burning stuff down? Why are we not raising something above them, to show that we're not happy about that? But when the opposite race does this to us, we're ready to go burn everything down. And then at the end of the day, they're raising our taxes because we got to pay for everything everybody destroyed.
Because
Taxes.
nobody's looking at each other as equal. That's why nobody's looking at each other as equal. Everybody's looking at each other like we're better than you. That's it's more racist now than when I was a kid. Now I can probably name 6 times in my life that I actually felt something was based on race. I don't have a problem with blacks. I don't have a problem with the Asians. I don't have a problem with the whites. I don't have a problem with anybody. I know Raza that speak on the whites as if they're the devil. They just hate them. Like,
Yeah, that's an important thing too because I wanted to address that because within our community, I've I even heard it like say it sporadically, like little racist comments against even me. I'm half German and half Latino, and I went into stores and they were like "ese pinche güero," like talking about me in Spanish, and I'm just standing there waiting for my food, and they just look
yeah,
at me and start talking. It's like, so you're right though. There's a unit or there's a group of people in every circle that is either toxic or they got bad ideas about people before you even know you.
yeah, they talk about Asians. I've heard homies talk about Asians, whites, blacks, every other group. It's not just aimed at one group, and that's where I
Even
think
even the
the
the LA City,
misconception is.
yeah, the LA City Council thing, they were talking about Oaxacos, but I've heard other Latinos be like call people Oaxacos before, like trying to be funny.
Yeah, but I just don't think we have fuck ups in all our races. Excuse my language. We have screw ups in all our races. There are people in the brown community there I don't even want to be around. There's people in the white community I don't want to be around. There's brothers I don't want to be around. There's Orientals I don't want to be around. It's not because of the color of skin, it's because of the way the individual conducts themselves. I try to base anybody I meet on a man to man basis on how they present themselves to me as whether I want to function with these people. It's never been about race. Yes, I've been involved in a lot of racial wars in LA County Jail, but that was just business. It was never about race. And you will get people on here that tells you, no, it was race. No, it wasn't. It's never started because of somebody's color of skin. It's always started because one homeboy is backing up another homeboy. And that goes on both sides. There's never been a racial war fought over here that it's been a one-sided war, especially in LA County. It's always been both sides playing the part. Even with the whites. There's wars jumping off with the whites between the Raza and the whites, between the Orientals and the Raza. We fight with Raza fights with everybody. We fight with each other. And that goes for every other group. They fight with each other too. They fight with each other and they fight with everybody else.
Do you think that the system controls that, like classification or R&R, when they book everybody and the cops segregate everybody? Do you think they're part of that?
I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this question, but I will answer it honestly. No, I don't. I think people give the system too much credit. I think they give them way too much credit and think these guys are that smart enough. Just like I think they give politicians too much credit where they think they can manipulate the masses. Now, right now they got wars jumping off in the CDC, and yes, they are trying to manipulate the masses. But what's happening? There's riots. There's people getting hurt because they aren't able to do it. They're not slick enough to throw a bunch of groups into one section and expect them not to get off on each other.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, is that every day there's alarms, the yard's going down every single day all over California. We never hear about it.
Right. But see, are they faking anybody about doing it? No, they're just doing it because they know there's no way of faking it. They're not that smart. If they really wanted to stop it, there's ways to stop this. But they don't want to stop it because that's money for them. That's the one thing that people don't understand. There is money.
Job
Just like
security.
the gang problems here in Los Angeles. Do you really think they want to stop the gangs? No, they don't. The reason being is they got gang prosecutors. They got gang enforcement teams. Everything gang prosecutors. They got so much stuff that's just based on gangs. And if you took those gangs away, what happens? They start losing their jobs.
Even cops too involved. They got like a Training Day, the movie. That cop in the movie, he was robbing people.
Yeah, they got their own little bag going. They don't want this to stop. But it's up to us to stop it. But in order for us to stop it, I believe that we have to start opening our eyes, taking responsibility for our own issues, for our own problems. Everybody wants to unite everybody and all this unite and everything to be kumbaya. But we got to deal with our own backyards first. We got to deal with our own people where we got to stop our kids from killing each other and going to spend the rest of their life in jail because all they're doing is giving job security to the CDC, making money for the state.
And what was your what do you think BLM should do with the money? Because I seen where $90 million that they made, and the owner of the foundation has all these mansions and properties, and I'm like, off of the sweat of our back, she's rich, and but what about everybody else? So what do you think about that?
I actually wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money, though. I really don't. I'm just being honest. I think
Well, I mean,
that's something
do you think
for the black
you think he's
community
frauding
to do.
people?
I did think it's up to the black community to discuss that. I don't think anybody else should be talking about that kind of money, what they should do with it. I would hope that if the Raza came into that kind of money, we had Mexican Lives Matter and we had $90 million in the bank, that we could just be able to discuss that on our own without anybody else interfering.
Yeah,
So
but
I would have to give them the same respect.
yeah, but BLM and there's all kinds of different people in it though. There's white, Mexican, Asian. So
Well,
there's
when
a lot of different donating. Yeah.
yeah, when the Black Lives Matters was protesting, you seen all different races out there. You seen them all together. Uh, they were all protesting. So but how are you gonna separate who was there, who wasn't there to help with the money? That's what I'm saying. If I would hope that if we came up to Raza had that kind of money, that people would just let us do what we have to do with that money and figure it out on our own without any outside interference. So I would have to give those people the same respect.
Yeah, well, because I think that, well, I personally think that we should see schools, education, programs. I'm here in California, and I have yet to meet somebody that is from BLM that is like helping the community. I mean, I see Boys and Girls Club, I see the YMCA, I see different churches, but I have yet to hear or see anybody. I never seen Colin Kaepernick. I never seen BLM. I never seen these people in person actually put their feet down here and be like, I'm gonna do this for you.
It would always be nice for anybody to have any kind of money to put towards their kids in schooling. There's that can always be used in a positive way or schooling our kids. Doesn't matter what race they are.
All right. And do you, so the anthem, you said you didn't agree with the anthem,
No,
and
because I wouldn't want the Mexican anthem out there in a football game for the United States. It's played in the United States. It's an all-American team. It's I understand that 70% of the NFL is black. What about the 30% that isn't? I just think that, like I said, I don't think anybody should be put on a pedestal. I think the United States is the melting pot, and we have our anthem, and that's the way it should stay. As far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean. I don't think any race should be put on a pedestal over anybody else.
okay, I want to talk also about, because I'm an ethnic studies major. I already took 2 classes of Mexican American history, and I got an A in both classes. And so I was curious about the reparations that you talked about, how you said that if they do reparations that you will protest that. And I was thinking how you said that everybody should be included and they're not. And I know that there was indigenous people here in the beginning. And what do you think about the reparations?
And like I said, it goes back to everything else. I don't think anybody should be put a pedestal over anybody. Now, what I said about the protest, I was talking crap. Be honest,
Yeah, it
but if
didn't seem like you really meant it. I think you were just like
just,
saying it. Yeah.
yeah, what I mean, dry humor. I guess you can chalk it up to dry humor. But the indigenous people were here. The American Indians, they were here way before anybody else, and Mexicanos were here way before anybody else. They got their land stolen. They were hung and mistreated just like every other race. Um, they used to have trees, which nobody talks about, and I didn't find this out until a couple of years ago. Was they had trees that were segregated. They had trees that hang Mexicans, and they had trees that hang blacks, and they could not use hang a Mexican in a black tree, and they couldn't hang a black in a Mexican tree. They actually had the trees separated, and one was supposed to do for whatever. So the way I looked at it was If say they gave a reparation, let's just say they gave reparations to the American Indians, right? Okay, where do you think that money comes from? It comes from the taxpayers of the United States. Is it fair that, as a taxpayer, and I'm not even saying basing this on my color of my skin, I'm just basing it on the taxpayer. If you're a taxpayer, is it right to have to pay for somebody else's mistake over hundreds of years ago? Is it right that we have to pay for it? We had nothing to do with it. Our grandfathers, our forefathers had nothing to do with it. Why are we paying for it? And I've heard people say, "Oh, well, we're just taxing the government. We're not taxing the taxpayers." Well, the government doesn't have any money of its own. They have no money of their own. So what do? They pull the money out of the taxpayers, and the taxpayers have to pay money out to for reparations. And like I said, I don't understand why somebody should have to pay for somebody else's mistakes. I I I just can't fathom that. I just don't understand it. Now I understand we all haven't come from an equal. I know some companies out there are made their millions and all their money and their generational wealth beginning with the slaveries, but those are the ones that should be paying money, not the government. At least that's in my opinion. You know what I mean? I might be wrong. I don't
That's a
know.
good point.
I just know that I actually watched this guy in Foundational Black America. I seen this video, and he didn't agree with reparations either. He said that because a lot of slaves had actually received what they were promised back in the day, and there's no way to determine who actually got those mules and that land that they were promised back in those days. And that's another reason it's like, well, maybe somebody just wasn't financially responsible with that. So it's just, I just don't think, I think it was too long ago. I think it needs to, we need, we need our history so that we don't make the same mistakes again. You know what I mean? Mexicans on the same poverty lines as the blacks, and we're not out there asking for reparations. We're
Yeah,
just
that's who you mostly see locked up is uh the Latinos and the blacks and the whites a little bit, but mostly it's us.
yeah. When I was in prison, it was in the '80s we were outnumbered. We were majorly outnumbered back in the '80s. 2000s came around and Raza's deep as hell in jail. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them in there now. So the tables had turned at one point. I think the blacks were pretty much deep as hell in there. You know what I mean? There was a lot of them in there. But nowadays, I think they're outnumbered, and that's not like for fighting instances, but just there's more Mexicanos in the California Department of Corrections than any other race.
Do you have any advice maybe for somebody that might be struggling and maybe with addiction or with alcohol and maybe want to change or do something different before they get a life sentence or go down the wrong path?
It's easy for me to say to change. It's easy for me to say to put down that beer, put down those drugs, stop gang banging. But we all know it isn't. But anything that's good is worth it. I'm glad I don't drink as much as I used to. I might have a few beers. I might even get buzzed a little sometimes. But I'm not much of a drinker anymore. I don't get high anymore. I don't gangbang no more. And it wasn't just overnight. It took time for me to get my mind right and understand that. And I was one of those guys who used to scream all the time, nah man, fucking cops don't leave me alone. They just don't leave me alone. They don't want to let me do good. But it took a long time to realize that something in me that made the cops look at me. Because now I can walk by the cops and they don't even give me a second glance anymore. And it's been like that for a few years. And we both know that even to be an older guy like myself, um, usually we're involved in drugs somehow, and the cops are looking at us. Ah, this dude, he's up to something. You know what I mean? Maybe he's boasting. Maybe he's doing something else, selling drugs, whatever. But no, they don't even give me a second glance. I walk by him or I drive by him. They don't mess with me. I'm walking down the street. They don't stop me. Uh, it took a long time for that to stop. It's because that's why I say we have the power to change what we want to change. It's just you got to want to do it. You got to put that effort into it. Just like anything else, you got to work at it.
I wanted to ask you also about your name, the Streets Ain't Loyal, the show. How'd you come up with the name? Because I like that.
That's just something I've said for a long time. Man, the streets ain't loyal. I just, what I mean? I would mumble it. I actually was gonna give that name to that channel I was on. I for said, hey, let's make some T-shirts with the streets ain't loyal. Uh, he didn't want no part of it, so when I went on my own, that's what I decided to name it because I'd already been talking about the streets ain't loyal for a long time. I think people need to understand that you run the streets. It doesn't matter if you're gang banging, it doesn't mean selling drugs. You're just out there fucking around on the streets. Streets don't care about you. You're here 1 second, you're gone the next, and they don't care. Streets just ain't loyal.
Yeah, that's what people. That's what I think. Sometimes people forget is that once they shut that door and they lock that cell, they lock the grill box, the bar box, in the nighttime, and you got to hear that lock, the whole tier lockdown, and it's like, man, the only people really there for you is your family, your people you're close to. It's like, where's everybody at?
Yeah, it's in the end, it's just going to be. Even some people don't even have family because they burnt their family out, or they've been locked up so long that their family just dies off. Or so some people in the system don't have anybody. So in the end, whether you got life or you're in the hospital, it's going to be you by yourself. Or even if you die, it's going to be you by yourself, man. There's nobody going to be there. You got to be able to. You got to be able to be happy with who you are, what you're doing in life, and we all know that anger and the gang banging or running the streets, that's all just built on anger. We're all pissed off at something, and that's our get back. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like in the end, when we're by ourselves, nobody else is around. We got to live with who we are.
Yeah, you notice as you get older, your circle gets smaller.
Yeah, it does. You start cutting people out of your life, or you get cut out of somebody's life, or as you get older, it's like there's everybody's living their lives, everybody's doing their own thing, and when people die, we care about them. My homeboy Smiley just killed himself not too long ago. Uh, he's like my brother, and yeah, I care about him. I think about him every day. But the ones that's really hurting is his family, his kids. You know what I mean? I love the guy. I love my brother, like I said, like my little brother. But even me, I have to move on with my life. You know what I mean? And they got to live with it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask real quick too. I had sent you a video last night of the Elmwood. The Elmwood. Were you in any of those pictures? Did you check it out,
Yeah. I think I was in two of them.
or did you recognize the people?
Yeah, I know everybody. Actually, I know everybody in those pictures. A lot of those guys are from my clique or another clique that's in my neighborhood, and majority of those pictures were taken when I was incarcerated. There's only two or three that were taken way before. and those are the ones I was in. I was in two of them. One of them I'm squatting down, and another one I'm standing up with somebody. I kind of remember, but there's two of them I'm in there. But I want to say 98% of those pictures were taken after I was already busted and gone for a couple of years.
Do you notice the most of the people in the picture that are you still connected with them, or they pass away, or how are they?
Um, there's some that passed away. There's some of them that if I run across them, I'll talk to them. There's other ones I just don't got nothing for. We had a falling out with me being gone so long. If I was out, it would have been different. It would have been like if I got into a dispute with somebody, it would have been over with, and it would or half the homies would have went on my side, half the homies on their side. But the fact that I had been gone so long, I really wasn't part of the neighborhood. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I'm from the neighborhood, but to them, I was like a stranger. And I felt that way because when I got out, it wasn't the same. That feeling of camaraderie I had with my homeboys was gone. And no matter how much I tried to kick it with them and do things with them, it just never came back. So those homeboys that I had a disagreement with, or they've been around the neighborhood and never left because they were always out in the streets and never got any time, never. So some of them, are, they're doing their thing. You know what I mean? No hate, no nothing. It's just, I just came out a different person, I guess.
And your show, do you have more plans to do more lives and do more videos like a podcast?
I Right now, like I said, school is my main function. That's right now my main priority is school. I do the channel. I did one video today. I do have some people online for interviews. I just haven't done them because I've been so busy. I'm hoping to see things slow down a little bit soon so I can do them. But the lives, I don't really like doing lives too much. And the reason being is because then it seems it's more about money than it is about the message. To me, the message is more important than the money. I'm not rich by any means, and that money will come in helpful. But at a certain point, I want people to realize I'm not doing this for the money. I make about, let's say, $30 to $40 right now a month. So in about 3 months, I make $100 on YouTube.
Yeah, I noticed that you're you're somebody that's not. When I talk to you, when I watch your videos, I don't see a determination to take advantage of somebody. Your character is moral standing, and so I noticed that about you that you never talk about money. Like that's big change, big cars. Like your conversation is always about self knowledge and being a better person.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Is I don't like I said, I'm not rich. I got a food on the table. I got a roof over my head. Got a nice car. We struggle with the bills like everybody else. Probably sometimes even more. Uh, and sometimes, people give donations. Actually, they sent me to Florida to visit my daughter because I didn't have the money to do that. But they sent us to Florida. They sent me and my wife to Florida by donations, which I appreciate it. I got nothing but love for people for doing that for me. So I try not to ask them for stuff I don't need. You know what I mean? That's extra. It's not. It's I just not into the money aspect of it. I'm not. I didn't get on YouTube to do the money. Now, if I hit 1 million subscribers, hell yeah, I'm good with it. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bullshit and say it isn't. I got people, and you're gonna see somebody. I got a kid that just called me. Um, he wants me to uh, push his clothing line.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And he asked me how much to do this. I'll give you a percentage. And I told him, no, don't worry about it. That's what my channel does. I help my gente without charging them. I'm not gonna charge him, man. You know, he's trying to make a living. He's trying to blow up. More power to him. And if I can help him, I'm cool with it. I don't need his money and I don't need his merchandise.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that because I've been cutting hair for about 20 years, and a good majority of that, I would say maybe like 60% of my haircuts over the 20 years, they're free. They're free if not discounted because I help people, and some people, some other barbers, they don't see it. They're like, I would never do that, but me, I'll do it because I know I'm helping people, and all the time it starts a great conversation. I make good friends, so I think sometimes people miss that doing something to help somebody for something you could actually get the fruit of knowledge and have a great conversation with somebody. It doesn't always have to be a material reason.
Yeah, no, I've done things on the side. I don't talk about because I do it because I want to do it. I don't do things because I'm gonna get acknowledged for it. Uh, I do it because it makes me feel good. If I can do something and I can't, I will because it makes me feel good. This is my way of making amends for all the stuff that I did as a kid. You know what I mean? Or as a young man that hurt people and did things that I shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? So this is my way of making amends. This channel is kind of like my therapy. And if I can help my gente, I'm at it. I'm at it. I'm good. I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I also wanted to talk to you because I went to a high school for a short period of time, and the reason I got kicked out of the high school, I went to an all white school, and it was in Oildale in Bakersfield, and it's pretty Peckerwood, Peckerwood, the whole town, and all
Yeah.
their kids. And I went to the school with all their kids of the Peckerwoods, so they would come to school with that bullshit, calling me, the I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, but the spick word, calling me a beaner, you know, pushing my first day of school. They were pushing around the Latino, calling them all these racist names, and I stuck up for them, and there was only about 6 or 7 of us Latinos in the whole school, and it was like 95% white. So we had to stick together after school, and we had to walk each other home after school. And I started a clique called La Raza Primera just because the white people were attacking us so much that I was like, we got to get together. We can't do this where they're getting us in packs where they're getting one person. So we all started helping each other out, and I just want to talk to you about that because I seen a video where you said that where you grew up at, the white people, they kind of were trying to run a program there, and you pushed back.
Yeah, Burbank is at the time was very racial. They had I know when I was a kid they used to talk about that don't get caught after dark by the police or take you up in the hill and kill you, a black or a Mexican. That's the way I grew up in Burbank. My first interaction was we want to go get a haircut. My mom and dad were looking for a home in Burbank for us to move to get us out of East LA. Um, and I walked into the barber shop, me and my brother, to get our hair very young, and everybody in the barber shop stopped and looked at me and my brother, and they told him, "Can I help you?" So yeah, my dad said to come and get a haircut. He goes, "You go tell your mom and dad." I said, "We don't cut Spick's hair here." I said, "Okay." I had never heard that word before. I had no idea what that word for. I've never heard it in my life. Out of East LA, you don't hear people call people Spicks. You know what I mean? Or Monte or wherever I was growing up, you didn't hear that. So when he called me a Spick, I went and told my dad, "Hey, Dad, they don't cut Spick's hair." I thought they meant kids. So that was my first impression of Burbank. And then when I went to the schools there, there was maybe 3 or 4 of the kids that were Rosa at the whole school. And I can name them to this day. There's a girl named Lorena, this girl named Lupe, me, and this guy named Eduardo, Edwin. That was it. That was the whole school of the Raza in the school. That was it. And then the ones that were there, half of them were Oreos. You know what I mean? They thought they were white.
Yeah, we only had one black person in the whole school.
So did we at one time. It was, and I can tell you her name, Kim Fields. You know who Kim Fields is?
Oh yeah, she's from Fresh Prince or no?
What is it
Family
called?
Matters.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but
Oh no,
no,
she's from that one show Different
Facts of Life.
Strokes. Oh,
Facts of
Facts of
Life.
Life. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, she went to the school I went to. She was the only black there.
Yeah, that's a trip.
I went
I
to a
was
school where Ron Howard went to,
oh wow.
where Bud Bundy, David Faustino went to. I went to those schools.
You said you moved around to a lot of schools. I heard one of your interviews. Can you tell us about that?
I've always gone through a lot of schools. I've always got kicked out of schools from as young as I can remember. I've been to multiple elementary schools from getting kicked out from one school to another. When I hit high school, I actually finished ninth grade in Burbank from one school. And then I went to Monterey High. No, I went to Burroughs. I went to the Burbank school in Burroughs. I lasted about a month there. Then I went to Monterey High, which is a continuation school. Then from there on, when I got kicked out of there, it was just like I'd go to school for 1 or 2 days, get kicked out. 1 or 2 days, get kicked out. I landed up going to La Puente High School. That's where I landed up finished. Where I finally dropped out. Where I just said, I'm done. I'm not going back.
Were you from
I went
Were
in
you
back
from
in
a
10th
hood?
grade. Huh?
Were you from a hood all this time that you're moving different schools? Were you from a hood or no?
Yeah, I was
Oh
from.
man.
I was still from my neighborhood, and that was what the main thing is. I would come into school, and fools would be like, "Where you from?" I'm with fool. What's up? Bang! I'd fire on them. I don't care. You know what I mean? To me, it was just making a name for my neighborhood. Uh, I went to a lot of schools. There's a lot of people that I know. They're like, "Hey, fool! I remember you from high school. You walked into school and got in a fight, and you were gone. Never seen you again." Yeah, that was me. That's and I went back to school a couple times. I went to 10th grade. I went to 11th grade. I went to 12th grade. But it was only like a month at a time or a week, 2 weeks, and then I drop out and I'm done. So the last time I really went to school, and I tell everybody, the last time I really went to school was in ninth grade.
Were you able to graduate?
No, I wasn't able to graduate. I was the last school I was going to was La Puente High. No, adult school because I got kicked out of La Puente High. The last school I was going to was in La Puente High. It's called Willow Adult School. I got shot when I was going to that school. So I was in a hospital for a few months, and then when I came out,
Can
I
you
just
tell
went
us
back to
about?
my neighborhood.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
What, me getting shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Hollywood. We were partying. There was usually we meet like 80, 90 of my homies there at Hollywood. We had a certain section where we were deep as fuck. This one particular day, everybody was running late. It seemed like it was there. We got there early or something. And it was my homeboy Smiley, rest in peace, the one that passed away. Another dude that wasn't from my neighborhood but ran around with us. And then me and my homeboy Mono. And then some girl. Some guys got off a car, started disrespecting the girl I was with. I jumped up. I bitch slapped him, which was probably a big mistake. And he told me, I'll be back. When you come back, ask for me. I told my name. Well, a little while later, uh, a truck pulls up and it got a truckload of dudes in it. They get off, and these dudes, and this is back in the mid '80s where people didn't have tattoos on their faces. And this dude was blasted up on the forehead, on the cheek. This was all blasted up in the face. I was like, oh shit.
Did he have
You know what I mean?
teardrops?
Huh?
Did he have teardrops?
Yeah, he had teardrops. That was one of them. But this dude was, you could tell he just came out of prison. This dude was big. And they started talking crap, calling out my name. I came out. What's up? Then when I seen the dude was, I was like, hey, man, hey, your homeboy disrespected. I started trying to clean that shit up, to be honest. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, your fucking homeboy started the shit. He's like, I don't give a fuck where you from. And I told him. Next thing he tried to fire me, and I dinged him up. I went to town on him, started tearing him up, and then they all jumped me. When they're jumping me, my other two homeboys came out. We started boxing with them. So it was like seven of them on four of us. And they shot me. They just opened fire and hit me. I was chasing them around, and he turned around and shot me. So it went in my arm, shattered my whole arm, came out, had a concussion from going over a car where I landed on top of my head because it threw me that far back with 357, like 5 feet away. So ever since then, I've had a messed up arm.
Do you have somebody that you feel like was an influence to help you change, or somebody that you say is, or that you feel is like helped you to be different, like you can lean on?
My wife. That, without a doubt, it was my wife. My wife is the type that tells me, do the right thing. It'll get easier. Do the right thing. Good things will come of it. Do the right thing. Always, always do the right thing.
And you guys been together for a long time, right?
35 years.
Oh, so she was with you when you were young.
Yeah. Yep.
So she sticked with you throughout your time and was there for you?
She was there for me all the way. Only time that she wasn't there for me is when I went to the hole. And she'd be like, oh, you got nothing coming when you're in the hole. I told you that. So, you know what I mean? But she understood I got to do what I got to do. Business is business. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for her, I probably would have got involved in a lot more things than I did.
Oh, that's cool. And so do you have any closing words or something that you want to finish the interview and say like maybe a shout out or a plug or something you want to talk about before we finish?
No, I appreciate you having me on. Uh, I hope you blow up. I hope you get a good response out of the video.
Thank you too. I really appreciate it. It's
It's
been a
just
good
about
interview.
being honest for once. That's what we need to do, is start being honest with each other and trying to get these kids away from making the same mistakes that we have. That's all I got to say, man.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Sonny Acosta. He's on Hulu. This fool. He has future projects. What was the future project that you said was coming out?
Oh, I can't. Higher Power is coming out soon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we got
And
that.
Die Like a Man.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna be putting Sonny's the Streets Ain't Loyal show. I'll be putting in the comments his link to his YouTube so you guys can check him out. Thank you, Sonny.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Have a blessed night.
All right, you too. Likewise. Gracias.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.